こんにちは。テニスソールのお時間です。今回は家でできるフォアハンドドリル3選を紹介したいと思います。フォアハンドがもっと上手くなりたいけど時間がない、そう思ったことはありませんか？実はテニスコートに必ずしも行く必要はなく、家にいながらでもフォアハンドをレベルアップさせる方法があります。あなたのリビングや庭などの小スペースで行える練習方法を用意しました。器具が必要のないドリル、簡単に手に入る器具を用いたドリル、両方を紹介します。時間がなくテニスコートに行けない、雨の日でもテニスを上手くなりたいという悩みを抱えている方は必見です。海外で人気のテニスコーチたちの動画を参考に、家でできるフォアハンドドリルを紹介していきたいと思います。ぜひ最後までご覧いただき、家でフォアハンドを上達させていきましょ
う。Hey, it's Ryan from 2minutetennis.net, and in this video, I'm going to share simple techniques you can practice to improve your forehand at home. So the first technique I want you to practice, and please, I'm in my basement here, so no excuses. Grab your racket, follow along with the video. I mean, this is a video about practicing at home, so grab your racket and do it with me. The first thing I want you to practice is how to take the racket back and improve your take back. Most players, they take the racket back with just their arm reaching. Even if they turn sideways, they just reach their arm back, and their hitting arm and body become disconnected. If you've watched any instructional videos anywhere on any platform in the past or taken a lesson, you've probably heard something called the unit turn. Well, the unit turn is when your left side and right side of your body turn as a unit. So don't think as the backswing as bringing your arm back, but think of the best way to take your racket back is by turning the body. It accomplishes the same thing from getting the racket to go behind you so then you can swing forward, but it makes sure that you turn and coil your body rather than just having your hitting arm disconnected from the body. It's really important that we have synchronization between the body and the racket, and turning with both hands on the racket gets our body and racket synchronized. Now, a couple things when it comes to the technique here. You'll notice my non-hitting hand is on the throat of the racket. So if you're usually in a ready position with both hands on the grip, then when you take the racket back, just slide it up to the throat. I like to tell my students to have their index finger touching the strings. That's just a nice way to make sure that your non-hitting hand went up to the right spot. Second, you'll notice that my elbows are out away from my body, which, by the way, I recommend in the ready position to begin with, that there's space here and that the elbows aren't in. When your elbows are out during the unit turn, it helps you with two things. The first is it makes sure that your racket doesn't go too far behind you. We don't want a swing that is really, really big, because against fast, deep shots, maybe in doubles and somebody poaches and you've got a really big swing, it's going to take you too long and you're going to struggle against better opponents. So keeping the elbows out can help limit the swing and keep it from getting too big. And another thing that happens when your elbow is out like this rather than down is, notice when I dropped my elbow, my racket opens. So a lot of players, they take their racket and back and their hand is above their elbow, and then their strings open, which actually makes it more difficult to get topspin. One of the things you need for topspin is to close the racket face so you can brush up the back of the ball. Well, when you take the racket back and now it opens, it becomes more difficult to close the racket and brush. So elbows out away from your body, slide your non-hitting hand up to the throat of the racket during the unit turn, and it's just going to look like this with the elbows out. So the first technique I want you to practice is just, you're in your ready position and just practice taking the racket back with both hands. You'll notice the racket tip is pointing up. Two heads are better than one. Two-headed monster, racket head and my head, right? So we don't want the swing way up above. It's more of a take back, a unit turn. And again, that back elbow is up. Just improving the take back is going to make a huge difference.
So here we are in my office, and I want to just make sure you understand that you don't need any crazy equipment to do all these drills. The only equipment I really have here is I'm going to use a stretchy band. This is one you could use. I have one with a handle set up on the floor, and I'm going to use some type of weight. I have like some dumbbells set up. You can use a medicine ball, a small medicine ball. You don't need it to be heavy. You can use a milk jug. So I don't want any of this to be limitations. Now, the very first thing we want to work on is the load. And it's really important that we understand the load. And so to really quickly review that load is that when we push back so I can push forward. Now this is really important because sometimes players load and they just load down. And so this is great if I want to go up, but I don't want to push my weight up. I want to push it forward. So it's really important that I load back so I can then push it forward. So this is the very first drill I want you to start practicing. And you can use your racket if you want to. Just starting your racket, and all I want you to do is load back, making sure that if I push or kind of push with my weight goes forward. And just like you saw with Felix's forehand, he moved forward and then he could still push forward. And so it doesn't matter as long as we're loading this back hip. That's the key to the whole thing. Now with this, we're going to add on one more thing, is that when we load, we want to create that separation. What I mean is my hips are facing this way and my shoulders are facing this way. So now if we practice, we're going load, we have the separation, and I can just push forward. You can see how my weight can go forward. One more, load, separation, and push forward. This is the first stage of how you want to do this drill. Now, one more thing you can do with this drill is now make it a little bit of a workout. So you start getting stronger at the same point. I'll do the exact same thing, load and push. Now I feel it in my hip, load and push in my legs. And this is a great drill where you can do a couple sets every day to make sure you start getting stronger. And the stronger your legs become, the better and bigger your forehand is going to become.
Hello, Greg Lasser for Online Tennis Instruction. Today I want to talk to you about a swing characteristic on the forehand ground stroke, which not only help you develop more racket head speed and power, but also help you to lengthen your hitting zone to increase your consistency and your ability to really place the ball, as well as helping to develop true topspin. Now what I'm talking about is the inside out swing path. So when hitting a topspin ground stroke, and in this example on a forehand, we know that the swing or the racket's going to go forward and upwards. But there's also another characteristic, it's called the inside out swing path. And that's where, as you're swinging through contact or up to contact, the racket or the swing will actually go away from the body. So it's going to move from an inside position to an outside position. So what's happening is you're creating a longer lever. So there's greater spacing between the contact point and your body, which means that your racket will be swinging much faster on that outer circumference. Also, by doing that, you'll have a longer hitting zone, and it's a necessary component to help you generate true topspin. But let's take a look at a drill you can do at home to help you to develop the feeling or what it's like to hit with an inside-out swing shape on your forehand. Right, so using the wall to help you develop an inside-out swing path. So you see how the wall is sort of a straight line. And if I just face forward right here and I keep my racket going out towards the camera, you'll notice how the hand actually goes sort of away from my body in this position. So this is really helps me to develop that inside out swing path. As you can sit up against the wall, a lot of people may find the contact point like this, but ideally if you take your thumb and your pinky and you make a gap between your upper arm and your upper body, that's a good distance you could be away from the contact point. So I want to find my contact point right here. So that's my ideal contact point. Then you can start in your ready position and you can add a shadow swing, and then when you swing up to contact, you want to try to get the racket to line up with the wall of contact. Now here's where the key lies, is once you get to this point, a lot of people come right across their body. You want to try to extend up and out a little further and see how the racket traces the wall a little bit longer before you finish. So let's watch that one more time. So you got your ready position, then you want to set up, you take your thumb, take your pinky, and you want to line up to your ideal contact point. Then you get into your ready position and you're going to rotate, create the stretch, step forward on a straight line, and then you want to swing out towards the wall there. That's your contact point, and then keep swinging, try to extend out a little further before you finish. Now one thing just to be aware of, when you step out, make sure you don't step towards the ball, because then you're going to crowd yourself and won't be able to swing with an inside out swing path.
本日は家でできるフォアハンドドリル3選を紹介しました。1つ目はテイクバックドリル、2つ目は軸足強化ドリル、3つ目はスイング矯正ドリルでした。家でテニスが上達する方法をもっと知りたいという方は、ぜひコメントを残しておいてください。お待ちしております。今後、このようにテニス選手やテニスコーチ、テニスファンに役立つ方法をどんどん発信していくので、ぜひチャンネル登録、高評価よろしくお願いいたします。